Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. It is Monday, November 6th, 2023. I'm your host, Jon Jeune. Of course, got to have my guy here with me, Greg Pennamon. Greg, we're recording here at 1:39, scheduled for 1:30, but nothing else changes. Same old Monday recap show. How you doing today, brother?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Excited for tonight's game for sure. Jets Chargers. That should be really good. See the Herb in action. You know, I get to see that. You get to see that live, so that'd be good for you as well. Also, yeah, it was just a good week in general. You know, like big games. I think they came through to be what they were. You know, Dolphins came up a little bit slow, but they made it somewhat of a game at the end. But other than that, yeah, it was a lot of exciting games. Some you know didn't expect. Some definitely for sure expected to pull through at some point.
Yeah, man, definitely some good football this weekend. I mean, some teams you were hoping to show up, they didn't really show up. Like the Dolphins, they didn't make it a game until it was far too late. The Bills didn't make it a game until it was far too late. I think the best game that we anticipated being a game is two of them actually come to mind is the Eagles and the Cowboys, and then the Texans and the Bucks, which that game was
that was ridiculous.
Insane. Like it's crazy because we had a running back kick a field goal, and that's probably like the least
field goal, kickoffs. He was doing it all. He was doing it all, man.
Bro, like my man kicked what at the time looked like a game-winning field goal. And it's crazy because DeMeco Ryans reaction on the sideline, he couldn't even believe it himself. He couldn't believe that homeboy made the field goal, and he had Dare Ogunbowale run out there and kick the field goal.
Crazy, man. He was launching him at halftime. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy, you thought he was a kicker.
Yeah. That's so hard to do, to come in in that spot. Think about it. They got the snapper, the punter, the holder, that whole operation. They spend the whole week together just practicing that whole operation. And Dare Ogunbowale just comes in and is like, yeah, I'm going to do it. No problem.
Yep. It's crazy. Every Saturday morning, college football, Pat McAfee brings out random people to kick a field goal for mad money. And no one ever does it. And it shows how hard it is to kick a field goal. And yeah, for him to just do it, when it's not his position it's crazy.
Absolutely wild. And like you said, I will be at the game tonight, hence the the Jets gear.
I mean, the Jets gear is there, whether you go to the game or not.
I mean, it's in the background, but I'm not coming in full starter jacket, It's a little some game day. I mean, this is what the second time I've had to record the day of me going to the Jets game. So
that just means y'all getting those primetime games. That's what that means. There you go.
That's exactly what that means. I think they've got one more left, maybe two more primetime games, but one more that I'm actually considering going to, which is the Black Friday game. Friday after Thanksgiving.
They should flex that Christmas Eve game maybe. So, just in case. Just in case he decides.
Don't play with me, Greg.
Just in case.
Like that. All right, we talked about the Texans game and the Bucks game. Let's start breaking down some of the action, man. Starting with the quarterback swags, man. And the number one quarterback on the week. Ooh, man, our guy, CJ Stroud. Hey.
Yes. Oh, man.
Yeah, bro. CJ Stroud absolutely went off on Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, completing 30 of 42 pass attempts, 470 passing yards. That is an NFL rookie record. 147.8 quarterback rating, also an NFL rookie record for a rookie quarterback having attempted more than 30 pass attempts, and 5 touchdown passes, and that was good for 41.8 fantasy points. Greg, we've talked about CJ Stroud a lot this year. What was your thoughts of this performance here by him, man?
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. He's just doing what he does, flat out. I think gonna be on his way to Rookie of the Year season. Just really balling out for a team, making the Texans relevant in the like AFC playoff battle. Like right now, it's crazy. Like they're really in the mix just because you know what they're doing. This team's doing. D'Amico Ryans, he threw for 384 in week 2, so like you know I'm not surprised that he can get up to this number. So like before 70 is crazy, and yeah, he's continue to just, ball out, man. Just ball out. This man's still only rostered in 76% of leagues. So it's crazy. I had to check again. I'm like, I don't understand it. Like, I don't know what more he needs to do to get this percentage up. CJ Stroud, man, is balling out. It's going to continue to do that.
Yeah. It's like I picked him as my start of the week last week, not for week 9, but for week 8. And it didn't, we didn't really hit in week 8. And that was back-to-back performances, down performances it looked like for CJ Stroud, to the point where, I in a couple leagues went to other spots, right? I went to Baker Mayfield, who was, our collective week.
Yep.
Definitely solid.
Yep.
Went to Sam Howell, my quarterback start of the week. A little less solid than Baker, but still solid. But CJ Stroud, man, it really hurt to have in 2 of those leagues, man, have him sitting on the bench like that. But no, most definitely, I don't know, man. I'm gonna call my shot. Maybe I'm biased, but I feel like I was on this since week 1, week 2.
Yeah,
I'm like,
absolutely.
CJ Stroud, like he's different right now. What he's doing, what he brings to the table, reminiscent of Justin Herbert, his rookie season, man.
Yeah, and I mean they got Cincinnati next week. That's going to be a battle. Then after that, man's got Arizona, Jacksonville, and Denver. Like he's about to take off.
And that Arizona game, you're gonna have Kyler Murray on the other side of it, so we're gonna have to push.
Whew. Yeah.
And regardless, I don't even know where it is, Houston or Arizona. Regardless,
it don't matter. Yeah. Well, yep.
So sign me up, man. Sign me up for that day, whatever day that is, man. But CJ Stroud, man, just having a phenomenal season, and we got so wrapped in to fantasy football and I'm always looking at everything in a 3-week lens. So I got to zoom out sometimes and be like, my man has 2,270 passing yards, 14 passing touchdowns, and just 1 interception.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely phenomenal what he's doing right now. CJ Stroud is, man. Absolutely, love to see it. And yeah, man. I mean, I might look Jets. This is the last Jets home game I'm scheduled to go to, but Houston's coming to MetLife some point in December. Might have to go make that one.
Yeah,
happen.
You might have to go. Yeah, go see CJ Stroud, man. He's box office now.
For sure, man. Most definitely. All right, let's move on to quarterback 2 on the week, man. And that will be Greg's quarterback start of the week, Dak Prescott. Greg, Dak Prescott, your quarterback start of the week, 29 of 44, 374 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, added 6 rush attempts, 14 yards, and a flip for no touchdowns, 28.4 fantasy points. Greg, I was really upset to not get it fast enough that I wanted to make Dak Prescott my start of the week. But you know what? Your start of the week, here it is. And it will be a common theme you'll find out this week as we discuss top 12s at the position. And as we go through these top 5s, top 6s, we're going to have to keep hitting that round of applause button for Greg over here, because my man was on it this week. But Greg, your first start of the week that ends up in a top 3 here, man. What do you say about Dak Prescott and his performance this week?
Yeah, he's hitting a real groove right now. Honestly, I mean, back-to-back weeks with at least 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like those are really big time numbers for Dak Prescott. This man did everything he could last night against the Eagles. In trying to get them that win. Back and forth nature we expected. He got it, attacking Philly secondary, who's still having some real problems over there. So love to see it here for them. They got the Giants next week. I expect no less again next week. He should do a lot of damage.
Yeah, most definitely. That schedule is starting to open up, and especially as Tony Pollard is not being productive, we see that Dak Prescott in the pass game is being productive.
Yep,
it's
Mike
funny,
McCarthy
man.
was like, "Oh, I don't want to run the ball," and here we are. We're right here. We are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yep.
Like, I want to run the football. I want to run the football. I don't want to throw it anymore. Yet Dak Prescott's gonna have 44 pass attempts in this game.
Yep. Just blaming Kellen Moore, just hounding him. Like, yep. And here we are.
Like, can we get Kellen Moore back at least?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, man. Absolutely bananas. Anyway, let's move on to the quarterback that was on the other side of that game. For the quarterback 3 on the week, Jalen Hurts, 17 of 23, 207 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, added 10 rush attempts for 36 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown, 25.9 fantasy points this week, Greg, to finish as the quarterback 3. Did come out of that game banged up again. He's gonna play. He's like, you will literally have to peel this man off a football field.
Yeah.
But Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Jalen Hurts, and are you concerned at all about the injury?
If I was like an Eagles fan for like Super Bowl hopes, maybe I'm a little concerned, but his bye week can never not come at a better time. Like, they get the bye week next week, then they play Kansas City. So I think that gives me a little more excitement, more like, happy that I'm not too concerned that he can, freshen up, heal up during the bye week and come back ready to go against Kansas City.
Yeah, great point there. Philadelphia is on a bye this week, and like you said, couldn't come at a better time. Needs to get healthy.
Yeah,
well, I agree with you from a fantasy perspective. Not going to be overly concerned. When they get to the 1 yard line, like it's
automatic. It's automatic, man. It's automatic.
It's crazy because it's like you go through the numbers. You're like, how did he finish as the quarterback 3? And they're like, oh, okay. Anything else you want to add to Jalen Hurts, man, before we move on to the rest of the quarterback swags?
Excellent.
All right. Rounding out the rest of the quarterback swags. And look, man, I got to just talk about this one for a little bit. It's like what Josh Dobbs did yesterday to finish as the quarterback 4. Like, can we just talk about my man was in Cleveland, was with Cleveland for the whole training camp, got traded to Arizona the week before the season started, was named Arizona's starting quarterback.
Balled out in that game too. Balled out in week 1.
Balled out in week 1.
Yep.
Has pretty much, I don't want to say he balled out every week, but for a guy who just got there, you're like, yo, Josh Dobbs is doing pretty well.
Yeah, 2 like the best scrambles of the day. Like, my man was boogieing, got ran almost all the way back to like the 40, came all the way back. He ran like 50 yards in that play and then got close to the end zone. Yeah.
Absurd. I don't know if you're watching Red Zone, but him and Baker had scrambles at like basically the same on 4th down at basically the same time in their respective games. Like Scott Hansen was like, oh, Josh Dobbs or Baker Mayfield would have scrambled. It's like, oh my God, Josh Dobbs would have scrambled both on 4th down to keep their their drives alive. Yeah, man. But for Josh Dobbs to then come to Minnesota, get traded on Tuesday, right? His first day with the team is Wednesday. He's supposed to be the backup. He's not even supposed to be the starter. He's supposed to be the backup. And then after the first drive, Jaron Hall looked halfway decent, by the way.
He did. No, he did. I was like, oh, he's about to take off. I thought he was about to get into the end zone, and he got cracked at the 1 yard line. Like,
I was like, yo, Jaron Hall might actually be good at football. Like for real.
Yep.
But then, like you said, got cracked. Next thing you know, like the first time the starting offensive line heard Josh Dobbs' cadence was on the sideline. Like you couldn't. Josh Dobbs is gonna have one hell of a story
Yeah, for the entire season. Yeah. His
Like
2023 season is
his 2023 season, man. He's got like that should be a book one day, man. It should
it
make
should be
a movie.
Yes,
Honestly, make it a movie, bro.
For real, yo.
Like
For real.
And then the dude's gonna go,
and he's a rocket scientist. Like
exactly.
That's
just
why. Yeah.
Like, there's a rocket scientist, bro. Like this is absolutely absurd. But rounding out the rest of the quarterback swags, that was Josh Dobbs finishing as a quarterback 4. Josh Allen just finding a way to finish as a QB5. Joe Burrow coming in at 6. Baker Mayfield, our streamer of the week, coming in at 7. Deshaun Watson coming in at 8. Sam Howell, my start of the week, coming in at 9. Derek Carr coming in at 10. Patrick Mahomes tying with Tyson Bagent as the quarterback 11. And then Taylor Heineke finishing as the quarterback 12. Greg, your thoughts or any thoughts on the quarterback performances this week positively that you want to shed some light on?
Yeah, I mean, like that, Deshaun Watson's in here. I mean, he's having a real rough year. I think, that was good to see him actually find the top 12 week. Derek Carr, I'm sure a lot of people added him and streamed him this week. So I'm glad he was able to get a top 12 finish as well. But other than that, yeah, no. I mean, Joe Shiesty, that's what I expect from my guy, Joey B, doing what he's got to do and playing better than like any other quarterback right now in football, man. He's found his groove.
Most definitely. And Baker Mayfield, like I said, I really liked Baker this week, a lot. I talked about wanting to make him a start of the week, but wanted to decided to go with stream of the week because wanted to give people an opportunity to get out there and play him. And for like 3 quarters, man, it was not looking too good from a numbers perspective. I do want to say
it's because Rashad White was they were getting to the red zone, and then
I was about to say, man, it's like there was 2 instances where Baker throws a pass that gets all the way down to the 1-yard line.
Yep.
And a guy who we're going to talk about in a minute, your running back start of the week, Rashad White, converts both of those into 1-yard rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
So Baker, the process was 100% there. It could have been a much bigger week, but the quarterback 7 will definitely take that. Sam Howell, man, I guess all he does is 300 yards and at least a touchdown.
Yeah, man, 2 straight games now, 300 yards. I mean, yeah, that's tough to do in Foxborough too against Bill. Yeah, that was definitely big ups to him.
Yeah, most definitely. But that's pretty much really all we got when it comes to quarterback swags. And
yeah, it was a week. It was a week.
Yes. When Patrick Mahomes finishes as the quarterback 12 and ties with Tyson Bagent, or as people call him, Teabag. Finishing as the quarterback 12. I mean, it's crazy, right? Like when Teabag finishes as the quarterback 12, you're like, oh, Teabag, that's like not a bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Mahomes finishes the quarterback 12, elicits a completely different response here.
Mm-hmm.
But do you blame Miami for that one?
Yeah, I think, 21-0. They got that defensive touchdown. They probably laid off the pedal a little bit in the second half. Yeah, I think they should be fine. Well, Mahomes will be fine. I mean, this is one of the best defenses Mahomes has ever had, I think, probably as far as being on the Chiefs. So, yeah, he's with less, he's being he doesn't have to do as much either because the receivers are really not there for him either.
Which kind of makes you wonder, like, Mahomes' upside is if his defense is this good,
right?
Like, do you like this game had a 50.5 point total, something to that effect?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even sniff that.
He's like still the QB3 on the year, but yeah. He hasn't really had. He's had 1 game over, 2 games over 25 points. Like he hasn't had the explosion games as much as usually in previous years.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, man. But I don't know. I would never know because I never ever draft Patrick Mahomes. So let's move on. Well, I guess rounding out the rest of these quarterback Jags. Lamar Jackson finishes the quarterback 17. Did scare the hell out of me. Looked like he had hurt his knee at one point, came up limping. Then they had put Tyler Huntley in the game. But it's like, are you doing that because you're up 30-3? Or are you doing that because you're concerned about his knee? So definitely something to watch for the this week. Geno Smith, I don't even know where he would have finished.
It was a definitely I expected a downgrade week for him. I mean, Baltimore got top 3 defense, I think, right now. But yeah, didn't expect this was it was really bad.
Yeah, most definitely. And then Bryce Young, my quarterback stream of the week. Absolute face plant of a day. 3 interceptions, 2 pick sixes, and he catapulted some of the pieces in this Panthers offense with them. So, we'll definitely probably leave Bryce Young alone for the foreseeable future.
They got Chicago next week, That's the no, it's not even the Caleb Williams Bowl because maybe it's the Marvin Harrison Bowl.
The Marvin Harrison Bowl. Well, Carolina doesn't even have their pick. Chicago does.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. They don't even know what to do. There's no point.
Extra incentive for Chicago to just beat them.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Actually, yep.
Greg, anything else you want to add from a quarterback Jags perspective? Oh, Tua.
Yeah. Anytime this man sees a decent team, what's going on with this team, man? It's crazy.
Told you, man. They're not built for this.
I guess not, man.
That's the Jet fan starter jacket talking. Oh man, I really hope the Jets don't lose tonight. Moving on to these running back swags. The number 1 running back on the week. Who could have saw this coming? Oh wait, Greg Pennamon did. Rachaad White. Had to let that one go longer, man. He finished as the running back 1.
RB1.
And it's Rachaad White. Greg, your running back start of the week, Rachaad White, man. 20 carries, 73 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Also added 4 targets on 4 receptions, or 4 receptions on 4 targets for 46 receiving yards, 27.9 PPR points on the day. Greg, clearly you saw this one coming. Why don't you wax poetically about why?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the 4 for 46 really added to that day. That's 8.6 points right there. Just, safe floor for him because, he's one of the top guys in receptions, which I mentioned. And then he's getting that volume, the 20 carries again. And he's been all year, he's been getting great volume, at least at 15 carries in majority of his games. Great matchup against Houston as well. So, yeah, this is a guy that's going to be getting RB1 volume. And as long as he's getting those touchdown numbers, I think the floor from his receptions is going to keep putting him in some RB1 weeks.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I mean, Rachaad White is a guy that I was high on him when he was coming out of his draft class. I think he was in the Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker class. So he was a guy that I got in a lot of dynasty leagues. I did not get him in a lot of redraft leagues this year. But if in leagues that I do, I feel fortunate because, like you said, that volume has been there, and it's been there all year, man. Even when it looked bleak for him at the start of the year, the volume was still coming, and we kept saying, man, look, you got to follow that volume. We follow that volume, the production will follow. And he's been like an RB2 all year, but these last few weeks, man, he's been putting together some RB1 performances. So you really got to like that.
Yep, absolutely.
Moving on to the running back 2 on the week. And I mean, I'll speak for a lot of people when I say it's about damn time.
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson, 9 for 87, 1 touchdown, added 4 receptions on 6 targets, 42 receiving yards, 22.9 PPR points on the day. And even this doesn't even look that great, man, because when you consider that the 1 touchdown was a 65-yard rushing touchdown.
Yep.
That means that he only had 8 for 22 on his other 8 attempts. Well, see, like I don't. When people do the whole like, oh well, if you take out his 65-yard rushing touchdown, he only average like, yeah, I hate that too. I'm not even doing that. The part that's irking me is the fact that he only had 8 touches,
right?
Like 8 carries. That's the part that irks me. But Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Ramondre Stevenson?
Yeah, the carries you don't like, but I think throughout the year he has been getting receiving numbers, so it's providing him some type of from floor. Not 4 for 42, so you definitely like that. At least like 3 of the last 4 games he's at least gotten like 4 receptions, so he's getting in that aspect. But yeah, this was a very popular coming into the year, like everyone's most popular RB2 that was going to probably finish as an RB1. But yeah, I think he's in the bad situation. The offense has been really bad in some spots. I think he's fought through and giving people basically RB2 season so far.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely fighting, and so I mean he's probably a player that I would look to sell high off of this game based on the usage alone, right? Like Zeke's not going anywhere.
No.
He's going to continue to be a part of this offense. It's not a great offense, so if I could, package Ramondre and get an upgraded RB1, I mean, Craig, Ramondre or Rachaad White rest the season.
Oh, Rachaad White, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the RB3 on the week. Did anybody see this coming?
No.
Oh, wait. I think I did. I didn't make him my start of the week, but Josh Jacobs, the RB3 on the week. I did talk about I had some Jeff Saturday type feels with Antonio Pierce. And I mean, I say that in a good way in terms of like defensive minded head coach, going to go back to his, to his roots, what he knows. And part of that is the run game and punching a dude in the mouth repeatedly. And guess what? They punched the Giants in the mouth repeatedly with Josh Jacobs 26 times for 98 yards for 2 touchdowns, no receptions that were not needed in this game, 21.8 PPR points on a day. And we even saw Zamir White get in on the action. Amir Abdullah was involved. So the identity of this team has flipped in a matter of a week here. And I think that's going to be a trend that continues going forward. Greg, what did you make of this performance here by Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, balled out. I mean, just dominated yesterday against the Giants and in general. So, yeah, this is definitely a good – if you're a Josh Jacobs manager, this is definitely a great sign, something you want to see for sure. Not a great sign if you're a Devontae Adams manager, though, for sure. If you're, that they're kind of shifting to kind of their identity being – especially with Aiden O'Connell probably being the starter for the rest of the year, I would totally lean on the run game all the rest of the season.
Yeah, there was a report that did come out that what this offense would look like. And Antonio Pierce, he said that when he grew up watching football, he remembered, the Cowboys and they ran through Emmitt Smith and they ran through Michael Irvin. And he likened the 2 Raiders pieces in Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams to that duo. We didn't see the Devontae Adams come to fruition. But in a game where they're winning like 30-6, right? And that game was never in doubt. I don't think the Giants scored until like the end of the third quarter or the beginning of the fourth. So it's like, I think that time is coming. I would still, what I said last week is still true. Like, I think I would still buy Devontae Adams. I think you could even double. I think I'm willing. Actually, I doubled down on that today. You buy Devontae Adams because I think it's coming. It is definitely coming.
Yeah, I agree. I think still getting targets. He saw 7 again, so they're still trying to look for him and try to feed him the ball. So yeah, I think the time has to come.
Most definitely. Rounding out the rest of these running back swags, man. The running back 4 in a week: Keaton Mitchell, 5 Derrick Henry, 6 Aaron Jones. Tie with 6, my running back start of the week, Jonathan Taylor. I'll hit it. Coming in at 8, we got Joe Mixon. 9, Alexander Madison. 10, Gus Edwards. 11, Najee Harris. And 12, Raheem Mostert. Greg, any of these performances stuck out to you in a positive manner, or anybody you want to shout out?
Definitely Aaron Jones. I think he had a really good day as well. I think so.
Had the Rashad White stat line almost.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm just happy that this man, I mean, talk about maybe injuries definitely didn't help him, but you're drafting Aaron Jones as a RB1 and you're really not getting anything all year except week 1. So glad he came up here. Joe Mixon continuing to just really just roll and rev up for the last couple of weeks. So he's I think he's here. He's here to stay.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Keaton Mitchell, man, that was an interesting one. Probably didn't see that one come in. The Baltimore Ravens undrafted rookie finished with 9 for 138 and a touch.
Yeah, the second half, the score was they were blowing Seattle out too. So yeah, but yeah, he's got some juice.
He definitely has some juice. Is intriguing for sure. Probably a guy that might want to pick up because we saw all these Ravens running backs get the ball a little bit. Gus Edwards, 5 carries, 52 yards. Keaton Mitchell, 9 carries. I think Justice Hill, if I'm not mistaken, had double-digit touches. I'd have to confirm that.
But yeah, I think they ran for like almost 300 rushing yards. Like they were close. Like at least 200.
Yeah, man. It was so definitely an interesting workload split between the Ravens running backs. Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, those guys played on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Both came through. I think we talked about both. I talked about both of those guys because that's right. You weren't here Wednesday, so I talked about both of those guys as being in play. So glad those guys came through. Yep. And somebody asked us a question: Dobbs versus Warren. We both said Warren. So, definitely hope that helped that person out. Chuba Hubbard, the volume was there, the production did not follow. Alvin Kamara just, I mean, he couldn't stay hot forever.
Right.
But I think this just kind of highlights what it looks like when the receiving usage doesn't hit because it was pretty low production on the ground as well, 9 for 26. And then Jerome Ford, seeing the volume, I mean, he had 27 opportunities in this game against Arizona. So again, just continue to follow that volume there. But now we got to move on to some of these running back Jags, man, and quite a few. Some guys with some high draft capital too. Specifically, Bijan Robinson. Another disappointing week by him.
I saw that meme. It was like they were first and goal. I think Atlanta, and it was like a pass to Jonnu Smith, a rush to Jonnu Smith, and then I don't know, a throwaway, and then not just Bijan not getting the ball. It was just.
Or my favorite one was Arthur Smith's son. I don't know if you saw this.
No.
Was dressed up as Arthur Smith for Halloween. And he had a play card and everything, had the Falcons vest, the mustache. And his mom was like, "Oh, do you want to call a play?" And he was like, "Yeah, I want to call a play for my favorite player, Bijan Robinson. Let's get Bijan the ball." And somebody's like, "Oh, his own son gives him Bijan calls more plays Bijan than his father." Like, yo, this is
the one thing he did wrong for trying to play his father. He didn't play it accurately.
He didn't play it. He's like, "Dad, this is what you should be doing."
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker, absolute disappointment. Tony Pollard. I mean, were you expecting a big? I mean, this one kind of hurts because Tony Pollard's been unproductive all year.
Yeah.
But were you actually anticipating a big game from him in this matchup against Philadelphia, where we talked about how teams don't run the ball against Philly?
I was expecting then some receptions to like combat that, but he's
3
for 12. Yeah.
You asked for some.
This guy's got, he's a week where he's had 7. He's had 6 for 80 one week against the Chargers. Like, not that, I think could expect a little more in that aspect. At least an RB2 day. I think he still got that though.
He did get an RB2 day. RB24.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go. Yeah. So that's what I expected.
Are you? I mean, I'm not. I don't have the schedule in front of me. I'm not sure who Dallas plays next week, but
The Giants, yeah.
Oh, so is he like start him up, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would expect that ball control, run the ball down the Giants' throat. Like, yeah.
Oh, this is the game plan that Mike McCarthy dreams for.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is what he dreamt about when he was firing Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Got it. DeAndre Swift did not come through this week either. Chuba Hubbard, we talked about it as well. Isaiah Pacheco, man, it's he's interesting because he's like in RB2 like purgatory. Like he's perpetually like an RB2 unless he gets a solid matchup or scores a touchdown. He's gonna finish as an RB2 because the receiving volume is not there.
Yeah, he's not getting receiving volume. Unless he's getting that touchdown. And then just this offense as a whole isn't scoring as much touchdowns. So like, like how you're saying, the Patrick Mahomes is getting capped. That affects everyone else as well on the offense.
Yeah, most definitely, man. All right, we do want to take some questions here. We are moving on to receivers, but we've got a receiver question. Look at that from Jares. I need Keenan Allen and Garrett Wilson to combine for 31 PPR points to stay undefeated.
It's more of like a what do you think, I guess.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Jares. I don't think you get there.
31 points is a lot.
It's a lot.
You would need a touchdown at least from one of them.
Keenan Allen's probably most likely to get you the touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, Herbert's got literally no one else to throw to.
No one.
So I'm hoping you got to expect like a 12 reception day, something like that. That's what you're trying to get.
But the matchup is really tough.
Yeah, really tough. Yeah,
don't really have anyone else to focus on but Keenan
Allen.
Yeah,
the Jets know that. Yeah, we know that. The Jets also know that. So it is tough.
I think you're more apt to get it from the Garrett Wilson side than you are to get it from like they're going to combine for 31 points, right? I feel like Garrett Wilson would get like 17 and the other 14 would come from Keenan Allen.
That's realistic. See? Yeah.
Because Garrett Wilson does have a really good matchup. The only thing is his quarterback is Zach Wilson. So
yes.
That's the cap that you're facing.
Yep.
If Garrett Wilson gets in the end zone, I think you get it though. So
yeah.
But we're talking about staying undefeated, Jares. I mean, undefeated is great, but
you don't want to be undefeated.
You don't want to be undefeated. You want to get that first loss out the way as quick as possible.
Yeah.
It's just, too much added pressure for the players on your team.
Yep.
Priceless Pigeon. Would you do this trade in a 20-team PPR? 20 teams, man. Christian Kirk for Javonte Williams and T. Higgins. I mean, did you do this trade before yesterday? Because, yes, I would do the trade before. I mean, the other person would say yes. I'm assuming before yesterday. After yesterday, they're probably going to say no. But, Greg, would you do this trade?
Yeah. I mean, Higgins, I think, was the guy we were saying he's also a slow starter, I think, in previous years. He's going to start to take off as teams, again, start to focus on Jamar Chase. Higgins is going to emerge.
Yeah, I would do this trade in a heartbeat if that person's really ready to do it. Bang and play. Should I trade Mike Evans and Aaron Jones for Najee and Cup? No,
I don't think I would do that.
Yeah,
I don't think I would do that. I think having Mike Evans is better than both those pieces, Najee and Cup.
Yeah, it's just tough because Mike Evans' situation is a lot cleaner than Cup's, and Aaron Jones's is a lot cleaner than Najee's. I mean, minus obviously you have to deal with the health of Aaron Jones, but Najee's got to deal with the Steelers' offense, and then
still, Aaron Jones still has more upside. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then Cup, like we don't even know who the quarterback is going to be and when Stafford's ever coming back.
Yeah,
so too much uncertainty there. Priceless Pigeon, do you see JT and Aaron Jones' success continuing? Yes.
Yeah, definitely JT's more than Aaron Jones. But yeah, I think it can only be up for Aaron Jones because he hasn't really done much outside of week 1.
Most definitely. And then I need Brees Hall to get 1 point to win. Going to be a close one. Spoiler alert, I think you get your 1 point. Priceless Pigeon coming back. Sorry, these last 3 questions I'm reading have come from Priceless Pigeon. Do you value Higgins over Kirk rest of the season? I do.
It's close, but I would, yes. I think they're both strong wide receiver 2s, though.
Yeah, both very strong wide receiver 2s. I think Kirk is obviously, we've seen his, I think he's probably got the safer floor. Week to week, he'll continue to see that volume probably as the lead receiver, but Higgins is playing in an offense that, we know can be explosive, and he's gotten, he's got a role that is, susceptible to being highly targeted and producing, high volume fantasy points as well. So big plays, big touchdowns, things like that. All right, that wraps up the questions for now. Let's move on to the wide receiver swags. And the number 1 wide receiver on the week, my wide receiver start of the week from like 2 weeks ago. I get credit for that one, Greg?
I mean, you traded for him though too, so.
And I did start him. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Started him. But Tank Dell, 11 targets, six receptions, 114 receiving yards, 2 touchdown receptions. Also added 2 rushing yards on 2 rush attempts, 29.6 PPR points on the day. Greg, your thoughts on performance here by Tank Dell?
Tank Dell's continuing to emerge, I think, as a very, very great option here for fantasy managers that, you could get for free just a couple of weeks ago, I think still. So now he's here. He's going to continue to be, I think, rest of the season wide receiver 2.
Yeah, man. I hope that, if you went ahead and acquired him last week or picked him up last week, that you did not rage drop him or rage trade him. Because these are the types of weeks that we expect from Tank Dell. These are types of weeks that we look for with Tank Dell. His role in this offense, I mean, the chemistry between him and CJ Stroud is evident. So just continue to, roll Tank Dell out there as a high upside wide receiver 3, man, that can put up weeks like this.
Mm-hmm.
The number 2 wide receiver on the day, CeeDee Lamb, 16 targets, 11 receptions, 191 receiving yards. Did lose a fumble, which would have made him the number 1 wide receiver on the day, and that fumble was like
very costly.
Was it costly? Wait, I must have missed a fumble because I thought this was the one at the end of the game.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't going to get in anyway. He was fine.
Yeah, he wasn't going to get it.
Yeah.
But sure, somebody lost fantasy points on that play because of that fumble. Anyway, 28.1 PPR points on the day. Greg, what'd you make of this performance here by CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was going to be a really good day. Thought AJ Brown was slightly just ahead of him a little bit, but he was able to beat out AJ Brown in this matchup, just being the number 1 guy for Dak, who also had an amazing day. So, yeah, this is CeeDee Lamb season all year.
Yeah, man, love CeeDee. It's my guy. Absolutely fantastic performance. 16 targets, man. Gotta love that. The number 3 wide receiver on the day, definitely did not see this one coming. You could have gave me all the CJ Stroud, all the Tank Dell, all the Nico Collins. I would have never gotten this one. Noah Brown, 6 for 6, 153 receiving yards, 1 touchdown reception. Good for 27.3 PPR points on the day. Greg, what'd you make of this performance here by Noah Brown?
Yeah, great performance here. I think it just shows to more that, no matter what, CJ Stroud is going to support 3 wide receivers and sprinkle in maybe some Dalton Schultz when he can. Because this team, even when they have Robert Woods, he was relevant. Robert Woods being, I think he's on IR. So now Noah Brown is going to, slide into that and have a role here.
Yeah, definitely going to have a role in this offense. And again, we want to attach ourselves to good offenses, ones with high passing volume, especially with the receiver position. And so Noah Brown out there running routes, getting opportunities, definitely something that you want to see. All right, moving on to the rest of the wide receiver position. And like I said, you will hear a round of applause in the top 5 for a lot of times, and it's going to be for Greg. So the wide receiver 4 on the week, Greg's wide receiver start of the week, Amari Cooper. The wide receiver 5, Stephon Diggs. 6, Deontay Johnson. 7, A.J. Brown. 8, T. Higgins. 9, Jahan Dotson. 10, my wide receiver start of the week, Chris Olave. Number 11, Odell Beckham. And the wide receiver 12, Nico Collins. Greg, what'd you make of these wide receiver swags and anybody else you want to shout out for an honorable mention?
Yeah, definitely love Nico Collins in here. Devontae Smith, who's, I feel like since that week we were go get Devontae Smith. He's took off. And yeah, Odell Beckham, really, that's a blast from the past. I mean, first game in double digits all year, and he made the top 12. So that's what's up.
Yeah, most definitely. I do want to say, because I was getting some looks from you, Greg, but Wan'Dale Robinson came through. If anybody played him,
he's like a touchdown on wide receiver.
Hey, to be fair, Daniel Jones getting hurt was not part of the process. Daniel Jones had to be healthy for us to see like a million targets to Wan'Dale Robinson.
Well, they're all in those first half. I didn't watch this game. There was no way I was going to watch this game. Like, I'm upset that this game, I mean, we're in New York, so this game was on over the Dallas-Philly game, which was crazy. Luckily, I have red zone. I would have been losing my mind.
Well, that's probably why I fell asleep during the 4 o'clock window, because I had this game on and I had red zone on.
Right.
But this game was the game that was on. And yeah, so I fell asleep. So I can't tell you when they came. I do know that Wan'Dale caught a pass in the back of the end zone from Tommy DeVito.
Okay.
For a touchdown. So, granted, his stat line, 35 yards and a touchdown. Not really sure, but when Tommy DeVito comes in, the Giants don't want to throw the football.
No. Not at all.
And then Tommy DeVito's got this whole Zach Wilson thing going on, where he wants to break a clean pocket and like wants to run around and back. Like, at least Zach Wilson is like quasi athletic, where Tommy DeVito, no shade, Tommy, Don Bosco, Don Bosco prep alum, not trying to embarrass you here, but you just, try to stay in the pocket a little bit more. Anyway, Greg, anything else you want to shout out the receiver position?
No.
Rounding out all these Jags, and boy, were there a lot of wide receiver Jags on the week, man. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Marquise Brown, Adam Thielen, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. Greg, anybody that I may have missed that let you down this week from a wide receiver Jags perspective, or you want to speak to any of these even more?
Definitely Zay Flowers, George Pickens. These are the receivers of my team. Christian Watson.
That was a big one.
Yeah. I mean, he had 2 opportunities to get a touchdown. So if he just kept his foot in bounds on one. But that was brutal. It was brutal. Jalen Waddle, I expected to have a better day as well.
I mean, he had the usual like, oh my God, I'm hurt.
Blast, yo. It's scary watching every game. Like, I can't believe it, yo.
Taking a Jalen Waddle over prop is probably the scariest thing you could ever do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because and I do this like 2 weeks in a row. I've done this where it's like I take a Jalen Waddle over prop and I'm like, damn it, why did I do that? Like 5 minutes into the game, this dude's with the trainers in the blue tent. I'm like, yo, the game hasn't even started, bro. Like, we just still at the coin toss. Oh man.
Yeah. I think the Packers receivers as a whole have been a seasoned Jag. So I don't know what's going on. I know Christian Watson is rostered in a lot of leagues.
Talk about made of glass.
Yeah, as well. Yep.
Another one. Hey, we could say these because these guys finished the game, so I don't feel as bad.
Yeah. True.
Like calling them a Jag when they finish. But yeah, man, it was just rough. Anything else you want to add before we move on to tight ends, Greg?
No.
Moving on to our tight end swags and the number one tight end of the week. Greg, you didn't roster him, right? You don't have him rostered.
No,
that's why he's here, right?
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz. 11 targets, 10 receptions, 130 receiving yards, and a touchdown. 27 PPR points on the day. Greg, what'd you make of this performance here by Dalton Schultz?
Like as last week, I was like, oh, just when you could trust Dalton Schultz, he gives you a dud performance, and now he just boom 10 for 130. That's a receiver line. Like he really balled that 11 targets, like insane. So I mean, he's had a he's literally had a boom and bust season. I mean, tight ends, but I will hope that he can kind of show some consistency before that he had before the bye. So yeah, hopefully he gets back on track here.
Yeah, man, I will say one thing I've noted in my memory is that prior to 2 weeks ago, the Bucs did not look like a great matchup for tight ends, and now it's just 2 weeks in a row between Dalton Kincaid and Dalton Schultz. Maybe it's like gotta play a Dalton.
I mean, the Bucs play Tennessee next week, so maybe a good week for Chico.
I get Gerald Everett.
Nah, yo. Nah.
I mean, like Kyle Pitts is like a Chigo light at this point, basically.
Chico light. That's hilarious. Oh man.
Oh, all right. Moving on to the tight end 2 on the day. He only knows how to score touchdowns and multiple touchdowns in the game. That's the only way you can get him, man. Cole Kmet, 8 targets, 6 receptions, 55 receiving yards, 2 touchdown receptions, 23.5 PPR points on the day. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by Cole Kmet?
He's been playing well. I mean, last week he had 10 receptions for 79 yards. This week, another solid day with 2 touchdowns. So he's showing a little consistency here the last 2 weeks, showing a trend. He's got Carolina next week. Should also be a solid matchup and possibly have Justin Fields back. So Cole Kmet, I think, is definitely a guy that, he's rostered in a lot of leagues. But yeah, I think the guy's going to kind of, trend up as far as a tight end 1.
Yes, sir. Moving on to the tight end 3 in the week, and he was actually, Greg, I don't think you were here for this, but he was my tight end streamer of the week.
Crazy, yo. I know. Or get money, but it wasn't enough still.
Speaking of get money, 4-4 now.
Crazy.
I went from a 4-game losing streak to a 4-game winning streak, and you went from a 4-game winning streak to a 4-game losing streak. Just crazy how it goes. Anyway, my tight end streamer of the week, K. Dotton, finishes as the tight end 3 on the week, 6 receptions on 9 targets, 70 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns, 23 PPR points on the day. It was a good tight end week.
It was a great tight end week. Very great
tight end week. Greg, your thoughts on the performance here by K. Dotton?
Yeah, playing well. 9 targets. You love that. 3rd straight game with at least 6 targets. So you love to see the usage there he's getting. And yeah, so I think he's definitely a guy that team should be adding.
Most definitely, we'll be adding him because the Dallas Goedert injury kind of sucks. So.
Yep.
Rounding out these tight end swags and the tight end 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jake Ferguson coming in at 5. Jonnu Smith. I feel like those are your 2 band. Like those are your boys right there.
Those are my guys, yo. All year I just been swapping them and out like on my lineup. So yeah, love that.
The tight end 6 on the week, Taysom Hill. At 7, we have Mark Andrews. At 8, we have my tight end start of the week. I'm gonna hit it because 16.1 PPR points is still very good.
Yes.
Dalton Kincaid. And then your tight end start of the week, Luke Musgrave, coming in at 9.
The clap is for finishing the game. That's what's up.
Oh man. No, I had a real good day, 14.1 PPR points, and coming in, tying in as the tight end 10, Hunter Henry and Juwan Johnson and TJ Hawkinson. And then coming in at 12, well, I guess would have been 12, would have been David Njoku, but he got bumped out by Taysom Hill. So, Greg, any of these top tight end performances stuck out to you?
Always Taysom Hill, man. I mean, the man threw for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown. Oh, sorry, threw for one and caught one. So, just doing it all, man, all year.
Yeah, man, most definitely. Yeah, it was a great week for the tight ends, like you said. Johnny Smith had that 60-yard screen pass. Jake Ferguson, man, 10 targets, just 10 targets. Like, that's crazy. 91 and a touch. Like, maybe I'm back. Who knows? Maybe I'm back. And then how about the Cincinnati Bengals just saying, screw you guys. We'll just get 3 tight ends in the top 17 after
Crazy.
like not using a tight end like ever.
I blame Buffalo. I mean, they thought like, oh, if we could take Jamar Chase out the game, like we'll win. And Joe Burrow literally said, I can throw to anyone else on the team. Like, this is what I do.
Bro. Like, I does this. I'm gonna go to sleep at 7 p.m. tonight. Like, I heard that. I'm like, bro, 7 p.m. Like, really, Joe?
Joey B, yo, that's Joe Shiesty right there, yo.
It's crazy. But we got to get on to our tight end, our touchdown or not tight end of the week. And we got to repeat, man, because I don't think anybody else deserves it other than Taysom Hill. Like,
no,
my man had 11. He was 11 of 52 rushing, had 5 targets for 4 receptions and 13 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Had 1 pass for one pass at completion on 1 pass attempt for a 3-yard touchdown to Juwan Johnson. Greg, what do you think of our touchdown or not tight end performance of the week?
Yeah, man, this is why you gotta have him in your lineups, man. Like this, he just once they get to that 10-yard line, they just really they don't even think about it. They swap him out, put him in, they put Derek Carr either on the sideline or they put him out wide. Like they're, so Taysom Hill has just been everything for this team as far as red zone offense, it feels like, or goal to goal offense.
Absolutely crazy, man. Absolutely crazy what he's been able to do. All right, let's move on to the tight end Jags, man. And I did not write many down, but Travis Kelce, definitely this headliner of the tight end Jags. Only finished with 4.4 PPR points is what I saw.
Yeah, 4.4. Only had 14 yards receiving. Yeah.
Not a great day by him. Dallas Goedert was not on his way to a great day before the injury, but obviously, left with the injury as well.
Trey McBride.
That was another one. Clayton Tune, bro.
Like, yeah, we need Kyler Murray back ASAP, man.
ASAP, man.
ASAP.
And I think that was really it from a Jags perspective. I mean, Gerald Everett hasn't played yet, so there's still time to add more.
That's why you're tight end performance of the week too. It might, down upon him is still he can take that.
I mean, look, no Keenan Allen. I mean, you got Keenan Allen, no Josh Palmer. You can't really go with the Jets receivers. And I'm thinking about this because I'm doing some DFS stuff for the game today, some single games. So trying to think through some things here. But anyway, let's move on to the news and the injuries. And not a lot of news, but some hard hitting news. New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones feared to have torn his ACL, and actually at the time that we sit here recording this, it has been confirmed by MRI that he has torn his ACL. He will miss the remainder of the season, so he's got about a 9-month recovery ahead of him. Philadelphia Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert expected to miss multiple weeks after undergoing surgery to his forearm. So we'll, definitely miss him. I think this is the second season in a row that he's had surgery in the middle of the season for Dallas Goedert. It's expected to miss some time. Josh Downs, who came into the game Indianapolis Colts wide receiver Josh Downs came into the game banged up with a knee injury, left the game with a knee injury, was ruled out. So could potentially be something longer term here that we're looking at with Josh Downs. Green Bay wide receiver Christian Watson, he left Sunday's game after being evaluated for chest and back injury as well as a concussion. So have to monitor his status going into week 10. Minnesota, this is really tough news, man. Cam Akers suffered what many are believing to be a ruptured Achilles. That would be his second ruptured Achilles in a span of 3 years here. So definitely not great news for Cam Akers. Definitely wish him, the best in his recovery.
Him and JK, man, I think have had the worst injury luck as far as running backs.
And they're both from the same draft class too, if I'm not mistaken.
That's crazy.
Yeah, some pretty bad injury luck there for both of those guys. And then this one hit on Saturday or Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. But LA Chargers wide receiver Josh Palmer was placed on injured reserve with a knee injury. So expect him to at least miss at least 4 weeks. Quentin Johnston, if you play in a league where
I've added him, in a couple
make
weeks.
Ads, go ahead, add Quentin Johnston. He's not going to produce tonight, so don't rage drop him tonight. He's probably not going to produce, but these weeks ahead, the Chargers are going to have to find people to throw the football to. Quentin Johnston, first round draft capital. It's got to come to fruition at some point. Otherwise that's a larger conversation to have from a dynasty perspective. But go ahead and add Quentin Johnston ahead of tonight. Bryce Ridley asking, do you guys take – hey, fellas, I got a fantasy question. Bryce, go ahead, throw the fantasy question in the chat. Meanwhile, my man Greg here is going to hit us with these waivers. Greg, where are we going with the quarterback position when it comes to waivers? And first off, let me just say this right away. CJ Stroud's got to be 100% roster.
Yeah.
Got to be. 100%.
100% rostered. Yeah. So, we got Kansas City, the Rams, Miami, Philly on the bye this week or next week. So you already know a lot of teams with the 100% rosterships of Hurts, Mahomes, and all of them are going to need some quarterbacks. So I'm looking to Baker Mayfield going against Tennessee next week. He's 48% rostered. He has 2 second straight game this week with at least 2 passing touchdowns. I think he's been providing a solid floor for the majority of the season. So you guys can go add him. Will Levis going against Tampa Bay next week in that same game. He's 44% rostered. He threw for 268 on Thursday night, facing a lot of pressure throughout the night. He made some really good, tough throws. So I think, in an easier matchup, I think Tampa Bay, Will Levis should be able to find some opportunities there. Josh Dobbs going against New Orleans next week. He's 17% rostered. I think with more time in this offense, I think he's going to get more work. I think he's going to get more comfortable and they're able to provide some fantasy value. With the 2 passing touchdowns yesterday, rushing touchdown, 66 rushing yards as well. And after that, he's got Denver, Chicago, after New Orleans. So the schedule is looking up for him in the coming weeks. And then Taylor Heineke versus Arizona. He's 11% rostered, threw for 268 and a touchdown versus Minnesota. So he's also going to be in play, I think, as well.
Yeah, I definitely like all those quarterback options. What about running back, man? It's usually rough at the running back position.
Yeah, it's real rough. Yeah, it's real rough. There's only got 3 names, I think, to mention that you could possibly add, maybe stash. Keaton Mitchell is definitely a stash option, I think, especially if he's able to pop off and gain some momentum in the next coming weeks, especially if there are any injuries to any of the running backs for Baltimore, to Gus Edwards, to Justice Hill. He has some firepower there. And then Tajay Spears, again, mentioning him as far as just a safety back for Derrick Henry. He's still, being used in the offense as well. And Antonio Gibson had the most touches he's had all season yesterday, 45% rostered. I think he's a name, especially in deeper leagues, that you could possibly add and fill in for some of these guys in next week, especially for a bye week.
Yeah, definitely like those options. What about at the wide receiver position?
Oh, yeah. Tank Dell, 48% rostered. this man needs to be, he's out there. He's 48% rostered in Yahoo leagues. He's definitely the number one option that can change your season as far as the wide receiver position. So definitely go get him. After that, Noah Brown, he's 2% rostered. I think he's going to have some fantasy value, maybe some deeper league wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 value, especially with Robert Woods being out. So he's 2% rostered. Go get him. And Darnell Mooney got 15 targets over the last 3 weeks. He's trending up a little bit as far as his usage. He's 14% rostered. Justin Fields coming back soon. Hopefully expect him to come back in week 10. I think that will help him a little bit, especially for him and DJ Moore too, because DJ Moore has been struggling over the last 3 weeks heavily. So maybe he could be a buy candidate.
Yeah, I mean that one might be a little obvious. I mean, crazy stuff. But a little off topic, same team. I feel like Justin Fields could be bought if depending on the roster that he's on.
Yeah, I think so.
Saw him start to take off, and then suffered the injury.
Yep.
So if he's on a roster that's struggling for wins, maybe you go out and you make an offer, man. But
yeah, I agree with that.
What about tight end, man? Why is it Dalton Schultz or Jake Ferguson or Cade Otton?
So definitely Cade Otton. I think those other guys you named are rostered. Cade Otton 5% rostered though. Go get him for sure. He was your stream of the week. We see that he's been trending up. A talented guy, especially last year. He's had some talent from his draft. So go add him. Jonnu Smith, saying it all year, 28% rostered. He's literally doing what everyone. Kyle Pitts is 90% rostered. If he's 90% rostered, Jonnu Smith needs to be also 90% rostered. Jonnu Smith, get him. They use him a lot. The Falcons are, I think, first in the league in total targets to the tight end position. So they love to throw to them. And then Luke Musgrave, he's 22% rostered. Finally finished the game. He's got the talent. He's finished as a top 12 tight end this week as well. I think he's also going to be rest of the season, giving you some tight end 1 weeks.
Most definitely agree with those. All right. Bryce has got his question for us. He says, long question. I've got Adams. I'm assuming that's Devontae Adams, Brandon Ayuk, Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk, and Deontay Johnson as wide receivers. He's got Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, Brian Robinson, and David Montgomery as his running backs. He got a proposal to send Ayuk for Jonathan Taylor. Thoughts on that? So let's look at his team again. Sending Ayuk would be receiving Jonathan Taylor. Greg, is that a trade that you are interested in doing? I'm assuming this is PPR league. But Greg, what are your thoughts on that trade?
Yeah, I think this would be the time to get JT. Zach Moss had his lowest usage of the year, I think, as well. So you kind of seeing that shift. I mean, they didn't really need the run game this week. Indy, their defense really carried the way, but I think JT is gonna be taking off a little bit, especially Debo coming back. That might hurt Ayuk's usage a little bit.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's tough is like Deontay and Kirk probably seem like the most consistent wide receivers that you have, Bryce. The most dependable ones, I would think. Deontay Johnson and Christian Kirk. I think Devontae Adams. We've seen his usage fluctuate. I do think it gets back to a point where he is a wide receiver, a strong wide receiver 2 with some wide receiver 1 upside. Adam Thielen, I think, he's been consistent as well too. I mean, he's only had 2 down weeks, so I'm willing to believe the other 7 weeks here as truth. So I don't know if you necessarily need to do a deal like this. I mean, you look at your running backs, David Montgomery, we know what the usage is going to look like when he gets back. Maybe Jahmyr Gibbs has taken some of it, but I don't think the bulk of it is going anywhere. Aaron Jones is continue, he's healthier, so like he'll continue to be, utilized. And I think Brian Robinson is probably the guy you worry about the most. Kenneth Walker obviously has some concern there as well, with Zach Charbonnet, nipping at his butt. But JT, like, Like you can't play all of these guys. I can't imagine.
No, I mean you'll probably go with JT and Aaron Jones at that point, and then Monty when he comes back. You could start three running backs. Because I think Montgomery.
Do you make this trade trying to then make another trade? Right? Do you make this trade? You acquire JT. Now you've got this strength at running back that you can like Bryce is saying he's worried about the Seahawks roster coming up, or I'm assuming he means their schedule coming up. But do you then trade a Kenneth Walker, like package a Kenneth Walker and maybe an Amari Cooper and go upgrade somewhere else?
Yeah, to get a wide receiver one.
You get a wide receiver one. You go get like a T Higgins, maybe not a wide receiver one, but you go buy a T Higgins, or you go buy. I can't even think of another name that comes to mind, but you just try to upgrade at the wide receiver position after you then traded a stable wide receiver 1 or 2 in Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, maybe. Or I probably can't get CJ Stroud. I wonder who his quarterback is.
Yeah, right. Or I feel like Bryce, you could go ahead and do this deal, but I don't think you're done after you make this deal. I feel like there's another deal that could be made here because you've got some pretty good depth here, and if you could turn some of this depth into another startable asset to upgrade your starting lineup, I think that's the way to go. He's got Mahomes and Prescott.
He's chilling. He's chilling. Yeah.
All right, that is all we got today. Obviously, everybody, thank you for listening. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Love interacting with people that are watching the show live. So, if you want to continue to see us live, we'll be live 3 p.m. Except today we had to do a little scheduling. I have to go to the Jets game today. Speaking of, I'm supposed to be on my way to the parking lot, be having some cold beverages right now. Greg, anything you want to say before we close this one out?
No, I'm definitely gonna be locked into watching that game. Got Herbert again tonight. Hopefully going for the win. I mean, don't need too much from him, so not expecting a lot anyway. So yeah, hopefully he can get it done.
And we got some Austin Eckler plus Jets defense that we got to get done.
Oh yeah. I'm not worried about that. Yeah. Let's go, baby. Let's go. So Jets defense should get it done themselves, hopefully.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I'm also going to the game. My boy's a Chargers fan. He's got Breece Hall in the lineup. He's beating me by like 30 right now. But if I can get Garrett Wilson plus Jets defense to outscore Breece Hall by 30, don't know how it happens, but I'll take it.
Oof. That's a miracle right there.
Let's just say he has CJ Stroud.
Oh, yeah. That happens.
All right, y'all. We appreciate y'all, man. Definitely appreciate the love. Appreciate those that came out and listened to the SiriusXM on my spot on SiriusXM with Bob Harris. Definitely appreciate that. Blessing for sure, y'all. And, we'll catch y'all on Wednesday. Break down some Week 10 football. Break down some Thursday night football. And, man, we'll catch y'all later. Have a good one, everybody. We're out of here. Peace.
We out.